welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I didn't butcher your surname, Hilton. I hope that was I hope that was okay. So, I mean, when I look at how do SMEs optimize and upgrade, and looking at enabling technologies, I think this is the part where people either get really excited because they are keen about the future, or people kind of go, it's too much going on here. I don't know where to start. So, I think let's start with, if it wasn't already obvious, why it's necessary to be up on to par with your tech, right? And what do you mean when you talk about enabling technology? So I'll start with you.
Start with me, no pressure. Thank you, Ziggy. And to all the listeners or everybody watching, a very good afternoon. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here, and thanks, guys, for joining the panel. But yeah, just to answer your question, I think a lot of the times previously, a lot of businesses thought, it wasn't necessary, especially smaller businesses, to actually transform. I think, they saw digital transformation as only something that big enterprises do, and they saw it as this far-fetched thing that requires a lot of capital, a lot of money to do, and so they kind of like held back until the big C word came along, COVID, and disrupted many of them. So I think a lot of SMEs caught a wake-up call, and they realized, we need to really digitize now. We really need to do something, otherwise we're going to get left behind. There's a lovely story that somebody once shared about digitalization, and I just want to quickly share that quickly. But it's about these 4 passengers waiting for a train, and it's in this deserted place. It's really arid, there's nothing there, and this is the last train that's about to leave this place. And these 4 passengers are obviously waiting for the train. They've got their luggage packed and so on. And the first thing that happens is that they all get an alert on their phone to say, hey, the train is not going to make a stop this time around. It's just going to pass through, so you better just jump on the train. The first person thinks to themselves, oh, okay, cool, I better be prepared, change from my suit, put on my sneakers like I did, get ready, exercise, make sure that I'm going to be ready to jump on the train. Second person thinks, you know what, I'm not too sure about this, should I really be jumping on the train? It sounds kind of dangerous, but I'll see what happens. The third person is a little bit in denial and thinks, nah, this is not going to happen, this is all a hoax, this train will stop, it's always stopped, it's predictable, and so forth. And so what ends up happening, the fourth person is in a panic, and they're all, worked up, and they're scared, and they don't know how to react to this message. So then the train eventually comes, and the first passenger, obviously prepared, train is not stopping, throws their luggage onto the train, quickly makes a sprint, jumps onto the train, and they make it. Second person wasn't so well prepared, but thought, hey, heck, I'm not going to be left here. So they run in, they're trying to throw their luggage onto the train. Some of it gets, falls onto the side, and they're scraping and they're sprinting. Eventually they grab onto the train, and the train is dragging them, and people on the train help the person get up onto the train. The third person is all up in arms, in a panic. They don't know what to do, and they obviously get left behind. And the fourth person is sitting there angry, saying, what, the train has always stopped. Why didn't it stop this time? It's always been predictable, but this time it didn't stop, and they were left angry. So the moral of the story is, what, digital transformation has taken place. Things are changing. It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of, when do I, as a business, am I going to be transforming? So like the first person, I think there is great motivation for you to actually get prepared for this transformation that is coming, and to actually jump onto the train that's moving, because it's not stopping for anyone.
Yeah, it's kind of going in that direction.
Exactly.
And you're either on board or you'll figure out how to survive on the sidelines.
Correct,
I like that analogy. Shristi, from your perspective.
So I think digital transformation is something that it's here. You've got to respond to it as a small business, or any business actually. And I think if there's anything that COVID has taught us, is that, you've got to embrace technology. Life can change, overnight. It's so unpredictable. And I think especially what it's also changed is the way customers' expectations, and the way customers want to be serviced, and, the way customers want businesses to service them and respond to them. So I think it's very important for small businesses to adopt digital technologies, digital transformation. And more than just those tools, it's a cultural shift. It's a mindset shift. And if you're not going to adopt it, you're going to be left behind. So I think it's also a matter of survival in the marketplace today. If your business, if you want to be sustainable against your competitors, you're going to have to adopt digital technology, because your competitor down the road is doing it. Your competitor opposite the road is doing it. If you're not embracing technology, if you're not digitizing, you may not be around tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's definitely the importance. It shouldn't be a negotiable anymore. It is a must for small businesses.
I like that, especially with your point around the competitor down the road. Is that sometimes you guys are exactly the same, and the difference is the fact that one person is tech-enabled and the other one
Exactly.
isn't. And if you're like me and you search for people on Instagram first, there's a couple of businesses that have lost out on business because I
Exactly.
like the one Instagram profile
Yeah.
and not the other, or the other one just didn't have an Instagram profile. So I was like, I'll go with this one because
Yeah,
they're here,
exactly.
therefore I trust that they
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. Hilton.
You know, I think all of us started our businesses because we want to grow, you know, and so we want to make wealth, you know, build sustainable businesses. And when you start making money, you start buying time for yourself, you know, more time with your family, and in fact, more time to work on your business than in your business.
Yeah.
And over the last 20 odd years, we've seen that technology has given loads of business owners, successful business owners, more time because they've embraced technology. So we came to South Africa, Sasol brought us here in 2012, and back then we were just a paper-based business. In 2015, we launched our cloud platform here in South Africa. Into 69 countries and some 3,800 organizations, some millions of entrepreneurs collaborating with business advisors and mentors, to build their businesses. The big C is actually a different big C, cybersecurity. The last 2 years, we've never ever seen so much of our digital footprint being used and abused. But we've also seen the adverse of that, where we've built greater relationships with our customers and our stakeholders, and we've been more transparent. Now, technology is much more clever than what we are,
Yeah.
even though we create it, but it's so much more faster, right? We exist as business owners to make decisions and take action. And technology pulls all that stuff to you together, and you can make the kind of decisions that you spoke about, you know, the guy with the train.
Yeah.
It's moving so fast that digital or innovation, that's also 10 years old.
Yeah.
You know, there's new things happening, and I think it's if you don't think about, digitalization and digitization as being part of thinking on your business, but also in your business, then you're going to be busy and chase your own tail.
Yeah, I think that's such a great distinction that you want to be able to buy back your time so that you are able to innovate more, but also have the freedom. Because I think a lot of people start their own businesses as well because the idea is that I have the freedom. I don't want to have to be anywhere in particular. But then you spend so much time just trying to get things going, and you're not getting the time to kind of work on strategy, work on
Yeah.
what happens next, to have that helicopter view and not get caught in the thick of it all. So I think that's such a great way to think about how we approach and how technology can support us
Yes.
in running our businesses. So for the person who's like, okay, yes, that's great, but there's so much out there, right? What are some of the key enabling technologies that an SME should have? And I think if you can speak to it from you're a startup, you're still very early in the game. Here's one or two things to think about versus somebody that's growing, it's a scaling organization, maybe like you, Hilton, and they are, in 600 odd different provinces or whatever it may be. And how do you manage that? So what are the different technologies that enable you to accomplish those two things? So I'll start with you, Hilton.
If I look at the context of South Africa, about 70% of businesses fail to look at their numbers. You start a business, you register it, etc. You open up a banking account that comes with free accounting software, and etc. And then you start dealing with customers, right? They start paying you, and then you don't have those necessities. I think that's one of the critical things. But before then, we know that businesses grow faster when they are connected to a business advisor, And so there's decisions that you can make. You can go on YouTube and on Google and find all kinds of things. But you need someone to help you think so that you don't just take anything that's for free or cheap,
Yes.
right? Because often you get the wrong tool and then you just mess up your entire business, right?
Just because it's available doesn't mean it's good.
There we go, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's critical to start off with a business planning tool. And that's very different from doing a business plan, right? We exist, every day we wake up, we grab our phones, we go onto WhatsApp, etc. Before that, we used to take a book and then write down an idea or something that comes onto our mind, right? And so one of the things that I would encourage all businesses in South Africa to do is to find a platform where you can collaborate with your business advisors and your mentors and your accountants and legal guys. And so when a idea comes up, you put it in, because your team that collaborates with you, your own staff and your external resources, they can all be part of that growth idea or anything that comes to mind. So digitize the business planning, the everyday business planning as a start.
Yeah. I think that's good. And also because you can see it as the business evolves, so you're not
Yeah.
going back to your piece of paper and going, oh, wait, this element of my business is shifted. You can kind of be on the ball as things change and be mindful of that. I think that's great. Shristi, your perspective.
Sure, there's so many that, pops to mind, but I think for me, the first thing that's very, very important, I think, is an online presence. It's your digital identity. And as you mentioned earlier, in today's world, any consumer, or even us as, in our personal capacity, anything we're looking for, the first place we go to is Google. Whether it be on our phone, whether it be on our laptops, your tablet, you go to Google. So I think the first tool that I would encourage all businesses, irrespective of, whether you are a retail business selling products, whether you're a service business, professional service, I think have an online presence. And that is multi-pronged, where the first aspect would be is a Google profile. So Google has this free Google My Business profile. So if you had to Google salon near me, the salons that come up, they all have Google My Business profiles. And that's something completely free that you can get through Google. And that's basically where you would list your location, your contact details, your operating hours. So I would say, an online presence is very, very important, and I would encourage all businesses to get it. And your online presence, as I mentioned, is made up of a few aspects. So get a free Google My Business profile. So when any consumer or anybody searching you, whether it be on search, whether it be on maps, your business comes up. I think the second thing is a website. It's very, very important in this day and age. It's your digital resume. When anybody, irrespective of what business you are, is looking for you, the first place they're going to go onto Google and they're going to search your name. And you need a website, whether it be to bring up the goods that you sell, where you're based. If it's a physical store, I still think you need a website so customers know where to find you, where to come to your location. So that's the second thing. And I think, the third thing, very, very importantly, especially in this digital age that we live in, is social media accounts. Have a LinkedIn profile, have a Facebook account, have an Instagram profile. The consumers of today are your Gen Z and your millennials, and they're addicted to social media. And the first place they go to, as you mentioned, is I check Instagram for a business, or I check Facebook. So have those social media accounts, So I think those are the key three things from a digital presence, or giving yourself and having an online presence. And that would be the first thing, you should do. And then I think onto that, and I think that's the first thing to start your business, but there's a lot of other useful tools that you should have, when you're managing your business and growing your business. And that could be like digital collaborative tools, things to be able to now, especially with working remotely, you have to manage your workforce remotely. There's so many powerful, digital collaborative tools like Google Workforce, Office 365, that's got, these various collaborative tools that you could, use. And then I think lastly, what's very, very important is once you've started your business, is you've got to grow your business. So I think very importantly is embracing digital marketing and the tools that exist out there, like Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, Boost posts. If you are on social media and you're putting feeds up or posts up, how do you actually get that boosted, get customers to find it, sponsored ads? So I think for me, those would definitely be some key tools that businesses, should be leveraging and using to basically get more customers and get their brand out there and get customers to find them.
Thanks for sharing that. I think those are all fabulous free tools that people can
Yes.
use, and they're easy to set up.
Exactly.
And if not, there's always a YouTube video to tell you how to do it. Lerato, your perspective.
Yeah, so my perspective, I just want to touch on what Hilton mentioned first, and that is around data. Data is such a key thing. So before you can even adopt any technology, I think you need to understand firstly, what does your business do and how does it do it? So I think even before the data question comes around, you as an entrepreneur, you need to understand what is the case for change. Why do I need to change and digitize? And once you've made peace with the fact that you have to do this, then again, going back to what Hilton was saying about data, understanding what your business does, how your business does it, gather that data, find out what your customers are looking for, how they want to consume your product. And then once you know what the data is, then you can define or design your processes around, meeting the customer's needs and be more efficient in your business and effective in your business. And then I think then the technologies will be informed by the processes and by understanding that data. And then, Shristi mentioned a couple of fundamental technologies. I think what's important is that you do have those fundamental technologies in place, so things like CRM, like your ERPs, your accounting systems, your collaboration tools, Zoom, Teams, etc. Those are all key technologies that you need to have. But then there's another set of technologies which are more your disruptive technologies, and that's things like artificial intelligence and things like blockchain technologies and mobile technologies and so on that you would need to introduce into your business. So I think, firstly, change as an entrepreneur, your mindset, understand the data, define your processes based on the data and what the customers are looking for, and that will in turn inform you in terms of what tools you require. And then make sure you've got the fundamental tools in place to run your business, to be operational, to be efficient. And then as you grow and scale your business, that's where you can look at your disruptive tools to be able to help you to achieve that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on that. You mentioned business process. And the reality is that if you've set up a business and you've thought about this big idea, changing the world, in fact, just maybe it's paying your school fees for your kids, etc., is that the most successful business owners have defined business processes so that when they can be away from their business, right? We've seen that over the last 2 years, we couldn't be in our business. We couldn't be in the office. We couldn't be with our customers. All our staff was remote, right? And so what we need to start doing, in fact, there's loads of apps that's available for that, is automate your workflow, automate your manufacturing, your sales process, your customer support, all those kind of things. And so there's business process software that's available. And so we use something called Process Street, and we have 100 and odd staff members, and some of them gig workers. We don't know what they do and when they do it, but we have defined the process, and so they can move from one to the other so that we almost minimize the risk of failure. And this is one of the things that I have found over the last 6 years, is that that business owners don't do daily business planning, and they don't have a team around them that helps them. And then 2 is defining your business processes and then making it so automated. One of the things that we always joke about is that you can't get into Sasol without doing the safety video and having all these things. But, globally, they're the leader within running a tight ship, right? And I think we must, as small businesses and startups, we must emulate big business. And today, the playing field is level because we can get access to all these softwares and technology. Earlier on, I wanted a coffee, and the guy wasn't there. And recently, we've seen robotics. So now you can own 20 coffee shops and sit on the beach, and the guy can press a button, and there'll be a little robot and make the cappuccino for you, perfect, right? And pays, right?
Yes.
So there's so much stuff. There's in fact a startup or business, a Sasol beneficiary, a Moya Pay. They've just during the lockdown, they thought, what can they do for the informal sector? We have 2.8 million informal businesses in South Africa, about 600 that is formal. So if you're an informal business and you're currently listening, right, there is so much local tech that's available, right, that enables you, to, for example, give someone the item and let them pay you digitally directly into your banking account. That's one of the challenges that we have as business owners, is that the customer's money goes into our personal account. And that's why we started the business, right? So I'm like, for me, the business planning, the business processes, and of course the pre-planning. If you don't have the pre-planning, then you're just going to use Facebook and buy ads because everyone else does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really to guide, a lot of it is to guide your strategy and so as to help you, especially when you're fixed, to figure out what is your next best move as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was just going to add, maybe it might be helpful for the listeners or the people watching, just to mention a couple of examples of tools that they can use, because I did talk a little bit about the disruptive technologies, you know. So
Can I pause you there quickly?
Oh, okay.
So before you mention
All
that,
right.
I just want to just put your guys' attention to the poll that just is on the screen at the moment. So when it comes to a digital system, what digital system or solution would your business most benefit from? And the options there are accounting or payroll, HR or ERP, enterprise resource planning system, right? Yes. Just double checking. So please just quickly fill out that poll as well so we can see what you feel is the one system that your business needs most. But yes, Loretta, I think that's very helpful to do, to figure
Yeah.
out what are some of those tools that people should be going to. So can you
Yes.
share a couple of those
Yeah,
with
yeah,
us?
sure. I think, you know, I did touch a little bit on data. So I think some of the tools that you mentioned, Shristi, you know, your CRMs, your ERP systems, those can host a lot of your data. But if you're looking at building maybe bespoke systems and applications for your business, I mean, you've got cloud technologies, your AWS, your Azure cloud platforms that allow you to actually use databases in the cloud. You know, so I think the nice thing about databases in the cloud is they're fully scalable, they're fully reliable, and you mentioned cybersecurity as well. I think a lot of entrepreneurs overlook that as well. So I think going to the cloud does give you a certain level of security as well that comes with that. So speaking on that as well, there are a couple of free services that you can actually utilize. So going on Azure, looking at AWS, I think Google to an extent as well. So those cloud platform providers do allow you up to 12 months. So you can consume various services for a period of 12 months for free. So looking at, like I said, you know, your databases and so on. And then looking at your processes and some of the technologies that you can use. So to understand your data, make sense of your data, make informed decisions, there are things like AI as a service that you can utilize that sits in the cloud. I think for that one, it's probably like a pay as you use.
Yeah.
Again, there's a big misconception about barrier to entry being capital and being able to afford all of these services. But I think these big technology companies and cloud providers have come to the party and are helping small businesses and medium enterprises to actually have access to these tools. So there are options and payment models where you can pay as you use, pay as you go. So if you don't need the service anymore, you don't have to pay for it. Or so the level or extent that you use the service, that's how much you'll pay for the service. So it is quite flexible. So again, AI as a service on Azure, on AWS, there are tools like that. There are things like app service if you are building a mobile application, if your business is heavily reliant on mobile apps, that you can use again in the cloud on Azure, free for 12 months. After 12 months, you'll pay for what you use, what you consume, and so forth. So I could go on there. There are many tools like
Several
that.
things.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that kind of preempted what I wanted to ask next was to go, I mean, you know, you are end-to-end tech solution
Yes.
with that aspect of having a mobility strategy. Shristi, you're passionate about the ever-growing amount of payment options and how people can integrate those. And Hilton, you've got the growth wheel solution, which is I think one of the best solutions I've ever come across
you.
on how people can actually integrate various aspects of their business and have their business plan be live. You know, so it's not just this thing that sits in a drawer or in a file that you don't know what the file name is anymore, but you can continuously grow with that, right? And just look at some of the comments that have come through. People have been asking a lot around where do I get started? How can I find this particular contact? How can I connect with people to do this? People have shared, you know, their business handles and said, hey, we're looking for support, either financially or just to get staff and resources and things like that. So I think a lot of people who are joining us are still in that early stage of figuring out the landscape, right? So what I did want to do was unpack some of the enabling technologies specifically from that angle of I'm still trying to figure out the landscape, right? What is the technology that I can use? And I think more importantly, what do I use it for? Because I think sometimes there is a lot of great free solutions, as you've mentioned, but people don't know where those free solutions fit in. It's like, I've got my business, I'm just trying to figure out how to be in it on a daily basis. So when I think about working on my business, I actually don't really know what I'm going to use all those. I mean, I think AWS is a great one, and a lot of people see it all the time, and you might see the ads on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you hang out the most. But it's like, okay, this is great. What do I do with it? Like, how do I use it? So maybe let's unpack that a little bit. And Hilton, we'll start with you, to go for that entrepreneur who's figuring out the landscape, who's just started, who's maybe still in early growth stage. And I think for even the entrepreneurs that maybe were growing, who have kind of taken a bit of a knock because of the
Right.
pandemic.
Right.
a tool like Growth Wheel, what do you use it for? How is it beneficial? And how does a person begin to wrap their mind around that?
You know, as I said before, I think, you know, most businesses fail because, not necessarily because there isn't enough capital in the ecosystem. We have so much capital in the ecosystem. It's just, you know, you need networks to connect to the right capital, right?
Yeah.
But most businesses fail because they don't do planning and they have the wrong business advisory support. You know, they say a bad year comes and go, but business advisory or bad business advice stays forever. It kills your business. And I think this is, you know, this is so critical for businesses within South Africa for sustainability and resilience. Most of us, you know, the president said there's a family meeting, you're staying at home, right? And now what next? All of us went to WhatsApp, right? 9 out of 10 South Africans use WhatsApp. And I think it's the most powerful tool, you know, for business. I connected to a business the other day, and on there was almost the entire brochures of products. It had their business profile. It had access to all their different sales departments and etc. And you could simply connect out of that into their social pages, and from their social pages into their into their business themselves. And I think one of the things that perhaps all of us are struggling with now is pipeline, sales pipeline, right? And so, for example, you know, you can spend your entire day putting a proposal together, sometimes months, right? But if you start doing your proposals for different customer segments, right, and for different customer verticals as a template in the cloud, you pull in your CRM, as you mentioned. When somebody asks for a quote, all their data gets automatically integrated into your CRM, linked to your proposal writer.
Yeah.
And then you just choose the template for the type of service that they want, even for tender. And you submit this, and they can digitally sign. Now, again, if you're a startup in, you know, informal business and you don't really know, there's about 10,000 business advisors, enterprise development practitioners, great programs like Sasol where they contract people, you know, with the expertise and skills. It's difficult to go with this at your own if you don't know, right? But, you know, these things are accessible, and I would always suggest that you speak to somebody that knows a little bit more than you, you know. If somebody doesn't know more than you, then that's not the person you're supposed to have as a mentor, as a business advisor, as you know, a leadership coach. Find somebody, and you want to be better than that person. So similar with technology, find things that is used extensively by other people, because you can find that there's always innovation. You know, there's something called now I'm going to get it wrong, I think it's called the Lindy effect. But essentially, the longer the organization has been around, the more innovation has evolved over time. That period is 6 years in the technology world. So when you look at an app, if you look at a digital resource, yes, there's new innovation coming constantly. But look at those guys that has been around for a while, and then of course engage with other entrepreneurs. The best people to learn from is entrepreneurs, because they have made mistakes every day, and they found 10,000 ways on how not to do it. Right? And so, you know, from a Growth Wheel perspective, we have just over 500 plus partners throughout the country, incubators, accelerators, organizations like Sasol, where you get access to Growth Wheel. I'd love to make it for free for everyone, but I strongly believe that if you don't have a group of people that doesn't work for you, right? Mentors, business advisors, leadership coaches, you know, your accountant, your legal, you know, if you don't have those guys around you, then it becomes so difficult. And so we work through these intermediaries, and we hope that we can make that, you know, grow that throughout the country. But certainly, if you're an enterprise development program right now, in some of the companies, you'll get access to it. And for businesses that's starting out now, we have a policy, we have a framework. It's called the BE policy framework. It enables us to do so much more. You know, we have a free office somewhere here in Sandton, and we don't pay for it because we're a small black-owned business. So leverage those kind of things, because you get access to, you know, the kind of stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, those are such excellent points. Shristi, let's talk about the same question, but from a payments perspective. You know, what are some of the things that are happening in that space that are great tools that people can
Sure.
leverage? We spoke earlier on with Nadia. She was telling us about the Women in Engineering program that's going to be launched. And I think sometimes people look at STEM in itself as, you know, those kinds of careers and opportunities and feel very overwhelmed and kind of go like, there's no entry point for me to go in because I don't know anything. What are some of those gaps in free resources that are out there?
Yeah, so I think from a payments perspective, the payment world is definitely evolving at a rapid pace. You know, there's new payment technologies coming out every day. And it can be extremely daunting, you know, for small businesses, where to start, where to go, which one to take, how do I use these, you know, payment technologies. So I think there's so many, and if I just have to quickly mention, you know, the ones that come to top of mind, I think would be e-commerce. So having an e-commerce, I mentioned earlier the importance of having a website. And I think over and above a website, if you are a retail business, if you sell products, even if you're in professional services, you know, now with COVID, the way we do business, the way we service our customers has all gone digital. So now it's so important to have an online website or online store, I mean. So, you know, there's very powerful tools that exist out there. As an example, Standard Bank launched Simply Blue, which is, you know, an all-in-one e-commerce platform for small businesses. It basically, you know, you don't need to be tech savvy. You don't need to be a developer or a coder. You take up this product, it's got themes, it's got templates, you just choose them, you customize with your colors and your logos, upload your images, and you know, you've got an online store. So that's an example of a tool that exists out there, very, very powerful and great for small businesses that, you know, really need to start selling online very quickly to either supplement their physical brick and mortar business, or, you know, if you're starting up from scratch and you're wanting to, you know, tackle the online world, there's products like that. And I think that's just one example of, you know, getting an e-commerce store and how to go about getting it. The other thing is, you know, QR payments is very big as well.
Yeah.
Now with, you know, the hygiene aspect around, you know, touching cash and handling cash and putting a card in a point of sale device, now you've got, you know, nearly every coffee shop's got this QR code, you know. So there's so many different QR code providers, Masterpass, SnapScan, Zapper, and these are really cost-effective, you know, payment technologies that exist because you don't need to pay your monthly rental for the device, which, you know, costs about 300, 400 Rand. Now you can, you know, just get one of these QR codes, put it on your coffee shop, put it on a lanyard. If you've got delivery guys, they can, you know, put it around their neck, take it with them for delivery. So I think that's another example of, you know, a really cool digital payment technology that's out there. And then I think another one, lastly, is, you know, payment links and e-invoicing. Like as an example, I ordered pizza the other day, and the restaurant, you know, on WhatsApp, Hilton mentioned WhatsApp for Business. And a lot of businesses, and I think this is, you know, really convenient for consumers, where they'll actually push out a payment link to you via WhatsApp. So you'll get on WhatsApp, it'll be like click 1 to pay. You press 1 and a payment link comes up, and it's a secure payment page. I don't need to pay the delivery guy. I don't need to, you know, go to a website. I don't need to, you know, handle cash.
Yeah.
So those are other examples of, you know, very innovative digital payment solutions that exist. And I think those are really important for small businesses to embrace if, you know, you want to provide that convenience to your customers for payments from a payments perspective. And I think, you know, just to stay relevant as well.
Yeah, I think those are all really great considering the fact that 57% of you guys said that you would need an accounting or payroll system, 22% said HR, and 22% said ERP. So, I mean, obviously, we are in business to make money, so I suppose it makes sense that needing an accounting or payroll system is the one that's most voted. Lerato, from your perspective, same question, but then also what should people be thinking about when it comes to end-to-end solutions? You know, I must say I'm a very simple, like, I just want to go to one place and get everything I need. So if somebody's like that and they don't want to be bundling a bunch of different stuff together, what are some key end-to-end solutions you should be thinking about, especially as a startup?
Yeah, I think just to touch on the first question a little bit, I think upskilling and reskilling are so vital. They're so important. And you've got, you know, My Growth Wheel that can assist with that. You've got platforms like Udemy, Pluralsight, where you can learn anything from tech to business to marketing to innovation. They offer courses at, like a fraction of the cost. So platforms are there for you to allow yourself to reskill and upskill yourself. And then looking at end-to-end solutions for somebody like yourself, that doesn't want to go and bundle a couple of solutions together. I think once again, looking at your various cloud providers. So I've mentioned Microsoft Azure, I've mentioned AWS, I've mentioned Google Cloud Platform. They do have end-to-end solutions. And I think the good thing about going with one specific cloud provider is that you are able to integrate a lot of your business processes on that particular platform.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that for any business. But then again, that being said, sometimes it might work out more cost effective to be able to bundle different services together, depending on how you view things and so forth. And the beauty about technology in this day and age is that everything is open. So you can still integrate various business processes through various APIs and so forth. So that's still not a problem. You can go to a one-stop shop, or you can look at various technologies and just piece those together using integration.
Yeah.
Cool. I was just checking if there's any questions that have come through from the audience. We're good on this side. Before we wrap up our panel, I just want to find out from you your one thing. Of all the solutions we've mentioned, of all the stuff that you know about, I mean, we've had a short time here, so we haven't gone into everything that's in your brain. But that one tool that from a enabling tech perspective that is your go-to that entrepreneurs should use. And also if people want to work with you, collaborate, whatever it may be, how do people get a hold of you? So we'll start with you, Lerato.
Okay. The one tool, wow, I think a mobile device, most definitely. Everybody has got a mobile device, if not one, two. So that's the one tool that anybody, and I think if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a mobile presence, you better jump on the bandwagon. Don't let the train leave you behind. So definitely mobile, and with mobile again, I think communication is key. So things like WhatsApp, I think that's critical to have an application like that for any business. I think everybody is on WhatsApp. You can communicate with your clients. WhatsApp allows you to build various integrations, various you can build on top of WhatsApp and be able to focus on your customers through that one channel. So that's the one, if I had to choose one. And then how people can get hold of me, I think the best is through LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile is on there, Lerato Masilani. Just look for me. If there are multiple, look for the guy that's, works for DVT, and you should find me on there. I think that's the best way to get hold of me. My contact details should be on there as well, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Shristi.
Sure. Okay. I think to add on to what Lerato said, I think I agree with everything he said. So definitely, a mobile phone, WhatsApp for business, so your social media networks. But I think to build onto that, I would say Google for small business. Google has so much for small businesses. All you need to do is just Google for small business. And as I had mentioned earlier, you get the Google My Business profile comes up. You can get a free website with Google. And I think a lot of small businesses don't know that. They think they, need to go pay thousands of rands to a marketing agency to build a website. But you can get a free website with Google. There's also, platforms like Wix and WordPress to go get a website as well. So I would say one tool definitely would be, the Google platform. Go on there, Google it. It comes with the Google My Business profile, a free Google website. And also I mentioned Google Ads. I think that is so important, especially, in a very crowded marketplace that exists today with so many businesses, and making use of Google Ads so that your website ranks higher up than your competitors. When someone searches a product that's exactly the same product that you sell, your product comes up first on the top. So those are some of the, very important tools that exist out there, and Google has them available for businesses for free. So I would say definitely make use of these free Google tools that exist out there. And and I think to supplement that lastly, from a payments perspective, there's so many cool digital payment tools that are out there. Just, Google them as well. Speak to your banker, or chat to go to your bank, and they've got so many of these cool QR payments, e-commerce, WhatsApp payments available. So do make use of those as well. And if anybody needs to contact me, you can also search me on LinkedIn, Shristi Supersad on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Google is definitely that friend that you need. Hilton.
So for me, the thing that pops out is the African Free Trade Agreement. And so now we have access to 54 markets. South Africa's got the highest unemployment. We're not doing well as an economy. We have about 5 million people with extra cash. There's 53 countries outside of South Africa where people don't have the resources that we have. I've been to about over 35 of them, and there's a lot that we have here. So right now, think about, if you're selling a product, one of the key things that's going to become critical for us in the next 2, 3, 5 years is where did you get your product from? And so blockchain, smart contracting, alternative currencies, those are the kind of things that's going to be critical. We work, big business is where we get our businesses from, where we grow, and that's the business to business, and then this business to consumer. Both those stakeholders are currently concerned about the sustainability to the environment. Yeah? I think Lobelo mentioned this earlier in his thing, is that if you're making a brick, where did you get the sand and cement from? And so I was excited when I see MasterCard was on this panel because they've just done something amazing in Zimbabwe, right? There's a massive need for beef in the Middle East, right? But what they want to know is where was that cow? This was a cow, right? It's not a beef, right?
It's a go.
When was he feed? When did he get his things? And so now very low-skilled farmers are able to use technology that enables the buyer on the other side to go through that validation, right, of the product. And I think, other than the other things that is available that everyone has mentioned, is start thinking about the next 5 years. And especially if you're starting up now, be ahead of the curve. And then just finally, don't buy expensive tech. Use the cloud. Use anyone's screen to access your data, access your platforms, all your operational tools. That's where we are. We were there. We just got so much potential to automate, digitize, and use digitalization for the growth of your business.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Hilton, people can find you on LinkedIn as well, yeah?
Growthwheel,
Growthwheel?
at Growthwheel.
Growthwheel.
And they'll find me somewhere there.
Okay, cool. Go to Growthwheel. You'll find him somewhere there. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, but also sharing your insights and knowledge. We really appreciate it. And I think everyone at home has good stuff to think about and great tools to go Google as of this afternoon and start implementing in their business. We're going to take a quick break, so we will be back live and on demand at 1:15. So 50 minutes, quick stretch, get some coffee, and we'll be back shortly.